Robert, good to see you. I understand you spoke exclusively with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy about the war in Iran. What did he tell you?
Yeah, Laura, this was his first public interview that he has given since the president gave that highly anticipated address updating the nation on the status of the war. 48 minutes long, a lot of ground covered here. But I want to focus in on the level of coordination and cooperation that has taken place between Iran and Russia, as the United States is playing this role in mediating talks between the Russians and the Ukrainians to end the other major global conflict that is taking place right now. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says, based upon Ukrainian intelligence, there has been deep-level coordination, not just the transferring of weapons, but intelligence between the Kremlin and Tehran. Here's what he told us moments ago. As the United States is participating in these negotiations with Ukraine and Russia, how confident are you that Russia is providing Iran with intelligence that is either threatening or taking the lives of U.S. service members here in the Middle East as we speak?
We have confirmation that from my intelligence that Russia shared and shares the intelligence with, they share all this, a lot of satellite images of different objects on the territory of Middle East countries. By the way, it's about Emirates, it's about Saudi Arabia, it's about Qatar, it's about Jordan. On some points, on some objects, we shared it with the journalists and we said it to American side. They did it thrice. And after we said the number of these objects, what we saw, I think that American side, I think their intelligence is better than, that they have more technologies than we have. So I hope that they understand that Russia helps Iran to attack on your basis, to attack energy system of Middle East countries, to attack different objects. What they do in Ukraine, when we see in Ukraine that they do images, look, we are preparing for attack. We know 1, 2, 3 days, they will attack us. This is how we prepare. We don't know everything. But when we see it, we begin to prepare.
President Zelenskyy claiming that Ukrainian intelligence has told him that Russia has taken satellite images of U.S. bases around the region at times, multiple different times. As these negotiations are taking place between the Russians, the Ukrainians, and the Americans, which the Ukrainian leader told us have taken place just this week. Here's the insight he gave on the current status of the negotiations to end the war in Ukraine.
Yesterday, we had a conversation with an American group. We spoke with Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Lindsey Graham, and also Mark Rutte. These guys have been from the American side and NATO, yes, and from our side, I was during this meeting and my team. So we spoke about negotiations. Mostly we spoke about security guarantees for Ukraine. And you know that security guarantees can be, we can get them from the United States only or if this war will end. After the ending of the war, we can have these security guarantees. When the American team began to speak about compromise, because between us, I thought that the world has to push Putin back. Push Putin back. And this is a big compromise. He has to be back and pay everything what people lost. He has paid for this. Yes, and save his independence. Everybody already forgot that this was the biggest compromise for us. According that we had so many losses, thousands of people, thousands of houses. And now people say that, the Russia proposed compromise to withdraw us from our territory. The territory what we control now. Otherwise, they will go further and they will not give you this compromise later. They will go further. It's mean what I wanted very much. I respect your negotiation group, American, but I wanted from very much from them understand that he doesn't want to stop.
Security guarantees are a big part of these negotiations, Laura, especially what they would look like from the U.S. side. With the president saying there are still 3 questions that are really unanswered here. One, what would happen if Ukraine is invaded again after a ceasefire? What would the response from the U.S. and Europe look like? But he's also talked about long-term funding for Ukraine's military, as well as additional defense capabilities, air defense systems in particular, which he has so sorely sought. There was a lot to unpack in this long, exclusive interview with the Ukrainian president, which we'll be sharing extensively on The Hill tonight.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.